Hey, everybody. On this edition of Crying in My Car, a podcast for teachers, we have a special guest teacher, and she is actually a college professor. And we're going to talk about the differences between teaching college and K-12 schools. Also, there is a Chalkboard Champion in the news and a weird Plexiglas licking game that we can't wait to maybe tell you about. And also, the 10 Commandments are coming to a classroom near you. We spice them up just for teachers. Tune in. Thanks. Hey, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Crying in My Car, a podcast for teachers. I'm Devin Siebold. I've got my good buddy, Mr. James
What's up, everybody out there?
Yeah, and thank you for tuning in. We are obviously, hopefully, your laughter at the end of the school day. You're in your car, you're crying, you're beating your head on the steering wheel, you're considering quitting, and we're here to tell you why you should. But no, I'm just kidding. No, but we have a special guest today. James has brought in a friend of his, and I'll let you do the intro. You know a lot more about her than I do. I just had the pleasure of meeting her. She seems very delightful. James, who are we with?
She is. Now, she's actually dabbled in stand-up comedy like us.
Really? Say that part I had not known.
Yeah. But she is an educator that's her actual profession. We have Keri Whaley with us.
Thank you.
Thanks for
how is everybody?
We're great. Thank you actually for being here. This is a great show, and it's for educators like yourself, so you're going to fit right in here.
I have to pay him to say that.
Yes, I do. Yeah. Every time it's $50.
Yes.
So, no, but the reason she is here because she is an educator. She teaches at a school, and people can learn things like
media, entertainment, film,
which is wonderful. I actually work with some of the people from that particular school. It's a great school.
In the college level, right?
It is, yes.
Okay.
Yes,
awesome.
at the college level.
Yeah, because I was about to say there's no programs like that at non-college level anymore. You know, there's just me getting Snapchatted and on the internet somewhere.
There you go.
And it's like, oh, it's film. No, it's not.
No,
actually,
it's not.
Take that down.
Well, she's here today to talk to us because she did something pretty amazing. You wrote a screenplay, if you will.
I did. So I used to be a K-12 teacher. I taught high school for several years.
Nice.
Before getting my doctorate and then going to the college level.
Nice.
And I started doing some stand-up because I was crying in my car a lot.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
I'm not paying you, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm just him.
I got the deal. No, okay. And then I had done stand-up for about a year, and then the pandemic hit. And so I started doing a lot of writing in that time, and wrote a first draft of a screenplay about, can I say shit?
Yes.
Okay.
You did it, please. Mic is on.
The shit that teachers deal with.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So you wrote the screenplay because of what you were going through, and you put it during the pandemic. I think a lot of teachers got a little creative during the pandemic, whether they were pulling their hair out from doing Zoom online hybrid classes / whatever you did in Florida. You know, they made me go teach at the COVID center at the ER. They were like, just go in there and tell them stuff. And I'm like, okay, sorry. But no, and then you wrote a screenplay, and has it gotten past the screenplay revision parts yet? Are you looking to get it made, or has it been made?
It's unproduced. So I never really meant it to be anything. It was difficult teaching in the pandemic.
Yes.
And so I kind of wrote this as a funny joke to some of my teacher friends and sent it to them. And one of my teacher friends teaches film, and she's like, let's edit this and like turn it into a proper script.
Nice.
And then I submitted it to some festivals.
That's the fun part because you actually got accepted. Go ahead.
I did. So I was accepted to a film festival that's actually next week in New York.
Ooh.
And it is called the Rhino Comedy Shorts Film Festival.
It's a rhino. I don't like it. It's a rhino.
That's good.
It's convincing.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
How is it? Huge.
It's huge. You're going to love it. Yeah, I've heard good things, great things, the best things.
Actually. Yeah.
As have I.
So first off, congratulations on that. We're going to give you a round of applause.
Thank
because
you.
That is impressive, by the way.
Thank you.
How long is it?
It's actually what's called a super short. So the whole thing is only 3 pages. So if it were produced, it would be...
Three's not that short.
No, no.
I mean, what, six is a good number.
Yeah.
Six is a good... Three's average. And I think three's average.
No. I think so. I think all women would agree. Size
I think women would agree 3 is the perfect ideal length. Go ahead.
It is.
She has no idea what we're talking about.
I think she does.
We would not agree. So,
your mic is not cut out. You're free to talk.
Yeah.
So if it were produced, it would probably be about a 3 to 5 minute short, comedy short.
Okay.
Which is the attention span of the average student.
Yes.
So
Exactly.
Absolutely. That's pretty cool.
It is.
So what's the end goal with this? You want to get it produced? Is that why you're taking it to the film festival? Is it maybe going to get picked up? Or is that something that you want maybe the short form to become a long form? Like, The Simpsons for years was a short on the Tracy Ullman show and then became a 30-minute. Is that, or are you kind of not looking that far ahead, just kind of where it is?
Like many of my students, I have no goals.
Oh.
And so,
Sounds right.
It was just kind of a fun project and I'm going with it from there. So where I work, we have all of these great resources. So maybe I'll produce it in the future.
Right.
But for now, it's just a fun script to dabble in comedy writing because, stand-up rooms were shut down.
Yeah, they
That's
were.
right.
Yeah, you had to produce some, online scripts and sketches. I know.
Yes.
I did.
Yeah.
Yes, you did. That's how you came to be the guy we all know and love.
Yeah.
My friend,
Millions of views, which was me sitting in my room with a little camera after my kids went to sleep. It was just me talking into it, and I was like, "Well, this will be fun." And then next day, 10 million views, and I'm like, "That was fun."
That was.
That was nice.
You know what's even more fun? Money
From the ad revenue.
Yes.
You're absolutely right. So, can you tell us a little bit about what the premise is for it?
One of the things that happened for me in the pandemic is the school loosened a lot of restrictions.
Okay.
With things like due dates and extensions and attendance and things like that. So understandably, some students needed that, but then there were also some students that were like, you give them an inch and they're going to take a mile.
Right.
And so out of the woodwork, we just started getting all of these excuses that only got kind of more and more absurd. So it would start with like very little things, like even though they knew their assignment was due 4 weeks in advance, all of a sudden the day of their Wi-Fi's out and they can't turn it in, right? So it starts with like these kind of things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. And then they just get progressively worse. And so in the script, it's just this teacher dealing with kind of excuse after excuse after excuse. And she's just trying to be empathetic. But the only way really that she can be is by going to the liquor store.
Oh, so it's a biography.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. Hemingway says, write what you know.
Write what you know. Yeah.
So
That's awesome. And you've been doing stand-up too. So you incorporated that comedy into the sketch. I didn't know you did stand-up. So how long have you been doing that? For a year or two?
well, I started stand-up in 2019.
That's a good time, right before everything shut down.
Right before, yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of on a whim, I signed up for a class at SAC and did an 8-week class, and I loved it. And so then I just started hitting up a bunch of open mics and did some shows, and it was great. And then everything shut down, like you said.
Yep.
And I tried some virtual shows,
Oh, God.
which were terrible.
Yes.
Except for the ones I did.
Yeah,
They were
yours were
fantastic.
great.
those were amazing. Amazing. Yeah.
I kind of pivoted and, I love comedy. And so I figured I would kind of try this other form.
That's great. And a lot of teachers, I get a lot of teachers that want to try out comedy. And whether
Because they
it's
see you
writing
do
or
it?
doing stand-up. Yeah, because they say, wow, if he can do it. But they watch it and they are like, I talk in front of drunken idiots every day.
Yes.
And if I can get paid to do this and make a joke about it, and the material is endless, so I think it's always a weird natural transition, because we had, for the Board Teachers Comedy Tour, we had 3 or 4 of us that had never done comedy before. And the guy running it was like concerned. He's like, they've never stepped on stage and done stand-up comedy. How do you think it's going to go? I said, honestly, if anybody's going to make that transition, it's a teacher, because it is such we're in front of the class thinking on your feet, the nerves kind of go away. You're like, oh, this is just a larger class size. Unless you teach in Florida, then you're like, well, this is about the same as I'm used to. 350 people all crammed in. Let's do it.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that I always see a lot of teachers that are like, hey, I'm interested in doing stand-up. And then you made that jump. And were you successful? Did you find it fun, or did?
Yeah, I loved it. And, I'm so used to being heckled in the classroom that it was fine, just being out in public and getting heckled. So
and getting paid $50 for your work.
Yeah, exactly.
This is double what I make in the class.
This is amazing.
Maybe I can retire one day.
We get free drinks.
I know.
I have to pay for this.
That's unbelievable.
And I don't even have to hide the drinks when I'm doing comedy.
No, you can have it out in the open.
Yeah.
Now, and plus, nobody under 21 is allowed in the club. You're like, no children will be here. This is amazing. So I know there's so many teachers that are listening right now going, you know what? I think I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And so are you still doing comedy?
I haven't done a show. So, we get the pandemic restrictions lifted, and then I had a baby.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And so then I, of course, was not going to be out doing, actually, that probably is even more of a reason that I should be out doing open mics.
Absolutely.
It was like, somebody take this baby.
Anybody.
Or just take him to the bar. I don't know.
You can do that.
Yeah.
It's Florida. It's fine.
It's probably allowed.
Yes, it is. It's probably
It's encouraged.
It is.
Yeah. So you've got the baby now. Now you have even parent material, teacher material. You got everything kind of ready, I think, for the comedy world. I think you should try it out.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping to make some bad life choices coming up in the next, while.
One of them is being on this podcast.
Exactly.
That's right. Yeah.
Just more fodder for, my 5-minute set.
You've never hung out with James and I at Gringos Locos.
There you go.
After we record. And that Gringos is a Mexican restaurant where we put them out of business.
Surprising.
We do.
Yeah, I don't know if you know this. They serve hamburgers. I don't know if you've ever heard of that place.
Yeah. Talk about making bad decisions. We're both lactose intolerant.
Yeah.
And we eat
it's
Mexican.
fun.
So,
It
yeah.
really is.
Now, the difference, though, you went from high school teaching to college teaching.
Right.
That is a big jump, but also kind of a better jump. A lot of people enjoy the college freedoms that they have. It's a little bit more lenient, which is ironic because I don't know, when you were in school, they always used to threaten you. They used to say, this won't fly in college.
Yes.
And then you get to college and you're like, it does.
Everything flies here. Yeah.
Everything flies in college. Yeah.
I'm curious. What's the biggest difference between high school kids and college kids?
With high school kids, I learned when I was getting my bachelor's degree, you have to go in, you have to be an asshole in the beginning. This is what they taught me at Florida State.
You can't be nice and bubbly.
Yeah, they're like, this is the official education on how to be an educator,
Gotcha.
right? I don't know if it was true, but it worked for me. So, and I keep hitting my mic because I'm all over.
But I can't imagine you like that. You're the sweetest person I know.
No, you go in, you find the most popular kid in the classroom.
And you bully them relentlessly.
Establish dominance.
Maintain dominance.
Really?
That's parenting.
I hadn't heard that.
Yeah, you're like, hey, I'm going to have to take you down. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
This is, if I'm going to have classroom management, it's going to be on your back.
Yep.
So, a lot of strategy in high school teaching. In college teaching,
it sounds like the mafia. Send a message on the first day.
You got to be hard to be a high school teacher.
Yep.
Why does she have cornrows?
I mean,
she came in an orange jumpsuit. I don't think that's allowed.
Is she crip walking? Just different.
I watched some YouTube videos before class.
Gotcha.
In college, though, it's way more lax. Just like you said, the students, the ones that don't care are probably not going to show up, so you don't really have to worry about it.
They weed themselves out.
They do. And then the ones that want to be there are They always ask, though, when is your next comedy show? Like, I want to come to your show.
I was going to ask about that.
I do not ever want a student at a show.
No.
Really?
I don't want the crossover of like teaching and show.
The two worlds colliding.
Yeah.
Okay.
That gives me some anxiety. Though I did have a student once show up at a show.
And you had to change everything.
A whole new set. I talked about my
suddenly up there
grandmother
like,
the whole
knock,
time.
knock.
I'm like, hey, no.
Because it was
I
the
don't
one
know if you
student
heard
who
the one
show
about
was about.
I don't know if you heard the one about the orange and the banana. But
Exactly.
this is going to rock
You
your
guys
socks.
are going to love this.
Oh.
Yeah.
So that's weird because Devin actually has a book about that same thing. Kids seeing your students in the wild,
teacher in the wild.
Life. Yeah.
Because they see you and they don't think that could be you doing 12
Anything
shots
normal.
of tequila at Chili's
Oh, wow.
on a 2:30 in the morning, in the afternoon,
Yeah.
around. Yeah.
Or even at Publix, I've had students are like, you grocery shop?
Yeah.
What?
Yes. Right. I'm like,
Yes, we eat.
yeah, we have lives outside of the classroom.
Occasionally.
Surprisingly.
And then you have to talk about it on stage. My students would find my clips online sometimes, and that was always interesting hearing a student say my joke, and I'd be like, so you found a clip. Okay, awesome. Did you subscribe? You
Yeah.
got to get the sub. You can't just,
I like when Devin would make the videos and put the students in it.
Yeah.
That was great.
So I actually did that. And this is the funny thing. I'll never forget doing that because my first few videos had students in them.
Yeah.
And I got called into the office and the principal was like, Mr. Siebold, I've been sent a video and there are clearly students in the video. And I'm like, yeah, about that. I said, I forgot to tell you, I asked which students were over 18, got their permission, had them sign off on it, and got their parent to sign off on it, and both of them signed off on a script of what we were filming, and we did it after school. And he's like, carry on.
All right. Yes.
Because I already knew, you can't just do
Grab a
that.
kid, yeah.
And so whenever you see students in my clips, they are over 18. They already signed off on it and said, I'm willing to do this. So,
yeah. God bless those freshmen.
Right? Yeah. You were asking the big difference between high school and college. I was like, not the age. Because not the same.
Hey, man, third time's a charm.
Yeah. Now, do you ever find yourself as a college teacher, I would be concerned about the age difference not being that big of a deal, because sometimes people go back to college even,
That's true.
and you can have students that are older than you or your age.
Yeah.
I remember I went to college and I had a professor that, man, I had a crush on her, and it was anything she needed, I was there.
You did.
And by the way, I'll never forget, I probably shouldn't tell this story, but I'm going to tell it anyways.
All right.
I'll never forget meeting her because I went up to we had to get it signed off. It was right before they switched to everything computer where you could just drop a class. So I had to go up to her office, have her sign it, and then take it down to the registrar and show him that she'd removed me from her list. And I walked in with the paper, and she was in there, and she was in a short little skirt, and she was staring right at me, and I was like, "Are you the professor?" She's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Very much looking forward to your class." And I literally was like, threw it away, took the only class that I didn't need. My mom's like, you signed up for 6 classes. I was like, I would have done 8.
Did you get an A?
I did get an A, but it was political science. I was very into it. And it actually became like a pretty big thing that I really enjoyed. Mm-hmm. And so I enjoyed the class, but I remember I attended every class because I was so in love with this teacher. Mm-hmm. And I never said anything. I never made a move. I was just a student who was like, that's your teacher crush. And as a kid, sometimes you have a teacher crush. Do kids, at the college level, they got to have a teacher crush, right?
That, like for you, Keri.
It's not me. I'm too mean.
Too mean?
Yeah, too mean.
I can't
I don't know,
see
unless
you
they
being
have
that
some
mean.
kind of a, fetish about that.
Oh, wow.
But
Maybe.
There you go.
I did just last week had a student, so in my class, I'm pretty open. I talk about being a mom, things like that. Mm-hmm. And I had a student come to class the next day with a trucker hat that says, I love MILFs.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And so, I was like, I think that's just coincidence. Is that supposed to, are we?
One thing you don't teach in that class is subtlety.
I guess.
Yeah.
I guess he's following a page out of my playbook.
There you go.
I don't know. I'm just gonna pretend I don't see it.
Yeah,
yeah.
That's
well,
probably
MILF.
better.
What's a MILF?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Interesting. Is that a brand of car? Or?
Is it 2% milk?
No, this is
Yeah.
Whole milk.
Whole milk. Yeah. Skim milk.
We just got kids.
No.
No, I see. I think that teaching college, I think, would be fun. I've considered doing it, but also I do like the structure of high school as this is how it is. I think it's almost too lax in college, and like the attendance policies are kind of lenient, and
there is not.
And it seems like it's also got much more outside of the job. I think there's probably more to do outside of that classroom than there is outside of the high school classroom, like in terms of emails, and kids really like, because I remember I'd meet with my professors after. I'd be like, I don't understand this. Can I talk to you?
Yeah.
There was a lot of desire to do good and get that degree because now money's on the line.
That's right.
In high school, money's not on the line. They don't really care. They come, as soon as the bell rings, bye, and I don't hear from them until the next day. Is there a difference there?
Well, you didn't know student loans are not real money?
I didn't know that. No. I didn't know that. Says the PlayStation 3 that I bought with my student loan back in the day.
Yeah, it's a lot, like you said, a lot goes on outside of the classroom. I mean, I will say, though, I prefer being at the college level to K-12. I feel like with K-12, I worked, I think, probably easily 60 hours a week, like bringing work home and grading papers and things like that.
Yeah, no doubt.
So I think the schedule is probably a little lighter at the college level, at least on like that end of things, because it's not so structured, right?
How do you feel it is with admin? Like, are they down your throat? Like, this has got to be done this way. Have you, especially in Florida, have you felt any pressure from policies being implemented? I know that DeSantis is going around some of the public schools and implementing some things, and there's some word indoctrination. You hear it all the time. I mean, has that creeped into seeing people with their head over your shoulder, kind of watching what you do?
I think it actually comes more from the students because they
really?
feel a lot of concern and anxiety about it. So, like, I just moderated a student meet and greet this week, and the students came together and they were like, "What's happening with this? Like, what are we allowed to do? Are there things that are going to be affected by it?" So, I think the students are really engaged and they're watching what's happening, and they're paying attention and asking questions about how it's going to affect their education.
Interesting. So they're interested in it. That's that. Yeah. So
But I had a question for you really quick. Now, Devin always tells me about his experiences teaching in high school and how there's limited resources in the county and you don't always get what you need. That must be different in college, though, right?
So different.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, and I also work at a really exceptional institution where we have like top of the line access to media and technology.
Nice.
And so our students have the best resources. So they're like learning and accessing things that are like would have blown my K-12 teacher mind. So, but that's why tuition is
so high.
$2 million.
No, it's part of the tuition.
Gotcha.
That's crazy. It's not like Florida has a $4.8 billion education budget or anything that we should be spending on the kids, but whatever. Anyways,
Okay, no.
Beside the point. All right, you ready to jump into the teacher's news, Mr.
My
James Chan?
favorite part.
All right, we got teachers in the news. Have you ever done this or listened to the podcast?
Yes.
Okay. We do
So,
teachers in the news,
I can't
which
wait.
is we talk about things that are going on in the news. Now, in Venice, Florida, there's Venice High School, which, by the way, the name Venice High School, they're called VHS. That's their.
Love
I
it.
think that's so.
Okay.
Obviously, they're up on the times.
But kids are like, what's that?
What's
What
a VHS?
I think is so funny is there's a teacher, and I applaud this teacher. Miss Foster was named the basically the teacher of the month. But it's so funny how behind the times we are. But you know what they call her? The Chalkboard Champion. Do you realize we haven't used a chalkboard in 30 years? Like, do they have the asbestos leadership award coming up, or
the whiteboard winner?
Yeah, the polio professional. I mean, it's just all so old. When I read that, I was like, chalkboard champion.
Yeah.
We can't think of something else. Nobody uses a chalkboard anymore. But I was actually surprised. You can nominate people to be the chalkboard champion. Do you know what she got?
What?
$500.
I thought you were going to say some new chalk.
No, you know, she can buy plenty of chalk with $500. Actually, maybe not. It's probably off the market.
Inflation.
It's like, it's expensive.
It's a collector's item.
Yeah, I don't know if you know that, but teacher-student licking game is sparking outrage.
Come again?
Yeah. No. Anyways, I know. See, our producer's shaking his head. He's like, "Yep, canceled. Absolutely canceled." A viral video shows students and staff licking cream off a plexiglass pane at a middle school. Now, it is what it looks like. It's a plexiglass pane, so right in front of you, and the teachers have like 6 lines, and so they have to lick the line off the plexiglass. Meanwhile, the students are on the other side, licking the opposite side, licking the lines of whipped cream or whatever it was off of the plexiglass.
That sounds like a horrible idea.
It absolutely looks bad.
Yeah.
And
you
the
can't
visuals,
wear a mask when you do that.
No,
so
you
it
can't.
seems, you know.
Or you could, and it would just soak it up right away,
Yeah.
and then you
There
won.
you
But yeah, the licking of with the students on the other side, I don't know about all that. That's that's something we're trying to combat the narrative on.
Whoever thought the game up should be questioned.
The kids.
Oh,
That's
got it.
The kids actually voted on it. That's why the teachers.
I bet they did.
The teachers are like,
No adult was like, let's steer this in another direction.
It might have been one of those things where they choose all of the options and we just don't know what the other ones were. It's like, you know what? That's the best one. Actually, that one is. But the school district said it's doing an investigation. They determined the activity is not appropriate and that it would never be repeated, which is probably a good idea.
Great idea.
I don't know who won. Nobody said. But anyways, they had to lick both sides. I couldn't. I don't know.
First off, I'm a germaphobe. That's disgusting.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, nasty.
I would agree.
But I think we all can agree the real winners, the students.
Yeah.
Whoever thought it up, they were
like, look, teachers are in trouble. That's what we wanted.
That's it.
It's too bad your college professor didn't have that game.
I know. I would have been like, plexiglass. Let's, I don't know, saran wrap maybe.
Or nothing at all.
Nothing at all. I don't know if you're aware of that.
Yeah.
They're like, the cream's gone, Devin, and I'm like, just licking.
But that feeling ain't all right.
Yeah. That's funny. Anyways, all right. 91-year-old math teacher has no plans to retire after decades at the same school.
Wow.
So almost 250,000 teachers are expected to retire this year nationwide, but at 91, Lou Kokonis isn't one of them. He's taught for 63 years at the same high school, touching the lives of 6,400 students, which, by the way, that's pretty low class size, if you ask me. If we did the math, I mean,
that's definitely not a Florida school.
That's 100 students a year, essentially, is what they were saying. Yeah, I taught way more than that every year. But he has no wife or children, so, he's happy. And he devotes himself entirely to his students, offering free tutoring on Saturdays, and he is the first to arrive each day.
God bless him.
At 91.
As a parent, I'm going to say let that man keep teaching because we have so many teachers that don't want to be there at this point.
Yeah.
And he does want to still be there. Let him stay.
Do you know when he first started teaching in 1959, it says he was paid $4,800 a year. So he's doubled his pay in 63 years. It's fantastic. But yeah, he said he doesn't think it's an option. He said his mind is set. He loves doing math, and he's going to keep on doing math for the foreseeable future. It says he's had new challenges like obviously cell phones. It's not easy trying to keep them from using a cell phone. They're addicted to it, but he continues to make a positive impact in the lives of the students.
There you go.
Yeah.
Teaches math at 91.
91. I bet half of the lessons are just add up how old I am.
And use your abacus.
Yeah, use your abacus. We got an abacus here. Yes.
I feel like in the next teacher segment, you're going to have to read an article about the trauma that students experience when their teacher expired in the classroom.
Exactly. Yeah. I think he should teach history because he'd be like, I was there. Yeah. Here's what happened.
I remember that. Yeah.
It's always weird. As you get older, you start to see especially when I taught history, it was so weird for me. One of the weirdest transitions. How many years have you been teaching? You don't
10.
know? 10. Okay. So I've taught 13 years before I left. But I remember my first year I taught seniors in high school, and we talked about 9/11, and they knew about it because they were young when they saw it. Mm-hmm. And then I remember actually teaching students that weren't alive yet during 9/11. And that was I was like, man, like now it's history. Yes, now I'm actually now I'm not teaching an event that we were all a part of. Mm-hmm. It's like I have to teach you from a textbook. Here's what happened. Have you seen this video? It's a weird thing. And this guy, he's like, well, nobody remembers Pearl Harbor anymore. So anyways, all right, next one, police investigating. This is a weird one. A spray painted truck of a teacher. Apparently it was a spray painted trans dad on the back of the truck. Now, here's the wild thing. Nobody knows why they did it, but they're investigating. They believe that students are responsible. The teacher believes they know who did it, but they're not letting the police know. So they're protecting the student. But somebody spray painted trans dad on the back of the truck. Now, the weird thing is that it's just a guy and his wife, and they're not fathers of trans kids. So why? Just what they chose to put on the back.
The truck.
Yeah. Maybe that's all they could spell. they're like, hate speech. All right, let's spell loser two trans dad.
That'll get them.
But no, I honestly I sympathize with this one. I put this one in here because I've been vandalized by students.
No.
Yes.
Have you?
Now, here, my first year teaching, it was hysterical to me the way it happened. I came outside, and there were donuts that had been done in my yard, and my mailbox was leveled.
Oh, my.
And I was like, oh, my gosh. I was like, wow, I got to get a new mailbox and got to repair my yard. I was renting at the time, and I would have to pay for it. Somebody did this. And so I filed a police report, and they came out. It was like 2 minutes. And then I went to school that morning. And I'm sitting in first period class, and these kids are talking, and one kid goes, so what'd you do last night? He goes, man, I don't know. I got wasted and did donuts in some dude's yard and ran over his mailbox. And I was like, go on.
Yeah.
He didn't know. He didn't know it was my house. Isn't that wild? The kid just randomly picked his teacher's home. And I was nice. I did not press charges.
Really?
Yeah, but I did tell him I knew. And I was like, hey, that was my house, and, you wonder if, now looking back, that was a bad decision. Yeah, I should have been like, that loser, you should probably never go there. They're armed.
He's dangerous.
Yes, yeah. I know who you're talking about. I wouldn't go back there again, but I let him know where I live, I guess, inadvertently. But yeah, so donuts, mailbox done. Didn't press charges.
No, I never would do
teachable
anything
experience
bad to my teachers. Like, I was a kid that was a class clown. I made everybody laugh, but I wouldn't do anything malicious to my teacher. I would never go to anyone's house and knock a mailbox down. And I never, what do you call that? TP'd a house.
You never toilet papered a house?
No, never.
Yeah. Did you egg a house?
No.
No?
Not at all, no. Eggs are to be cooked, not thrown.
I didn't do any vandalism when I was a kid. That wasn't a big one. I did go trick-or-treating one time, and somebody put chalk in a pick one. And I wrote some suggestive words with that chalk on their driveway about them not having candy.
There you go.
So
I agree with that, though.
Can be washed off.
Yeah.
And
my name's James, and I approve that.
So
message.
Really, I was the true chalkboard champion when you think about it. I was the original. But yeah, so I don't know. And then the last one that I want to talk about here is an interesting one in Texas. I don't know if you've seen the Ten Commandments thing that was passed.
I didn't.
You didn't see it?
No.
Nobody's seeing this?
Not yet.
You told me about this.
In Texas, they passed a recent bill, literally today, that said that the Ten Commandments must be displayed in every public school classroom, and gave specific size requirements and font requirements and everything. Poster-sized Ten Commandments in every classroom. And also there has to be mandated time for prayer and reading of the Bible.
How is that able to happen?
How are we able to fit that time into the class period when they got 900 things for us to do?
Because it's Texas. We don't need things like English class or math.
It's so funny because you do see trends in certain states.
Yes, you do, sir.
Like I flew into Kentucky. Do you realize their airport has 3 3 bourbon stores? The only airport that I've ever seen with no bookstore.
Oh, you don't need
But
that.
they have 3 bourbon stores.
Absolutely.
Don't do
Priorities.
no reading.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But,
don't need no reading.
Yeah, but that's the thing is Texas obviously wants the 10 Commandments in there, and they want the reading time now for the Bible.
And no one pushed back. Everybody's fine with it.
Oh, people are pushing back left and right, but
Gotcha.
when you control the state legislator, it's kind of like you can pick whatever you want. I mean, really, they could have had, mandated like a Far Side calendar if they wanted. There's really nothing that they could stop doing, you know?
Gotcha.
So, I mean, I don't know.
That's
I don't know
scary,
how I feel
though.
about that.
Well,
We started with the, what did we do in Florida? We had to have In God We Trust
yes.
in Florida, right? So, I mean, that's kind of where it started. And they said,
we use his other name in DeSantis. We trust. Yeah.
yeah, so we have that. And then Texas one-up us with the 10 Commandments. And I don't know what the next thing is. Maybe
Don't ask. Don't ask.
I don't know. Mississippi will have mid-class communion, And
Mississippi.
I don't know.
That's
how it's
what they're
work.
gonna have.
I'd be fine with that as long as it's actual wine and
Yes.
not grape juice.
There you
I
go.
agree.
Yeah.
After lunch, let's calm them down a little bit.
Yeah, let's do a little
Blood of Christ is
communion.
delicious.
Little Chardonnay and the bread, which I guarantee they'd make them pay for because they don't give out free lunch to kids.
They sure don't.
in these
Yeah.
states. But I decided that I wanted to do the 10 Commandments for teachers. Is that okay? So if we were going to hang up something, I would want a real teacher 10 Commandments in the room.
We need it.
And so here's the 10 Commandments for the teachers. Thou shalt not turn on both sets of lights if the teacher has a hangover. Don't do that. But by the way, I had 2 sets of lights in my class. One was always off.
I got it.
And it was for me.
Got it.
The next one, thou shalt not draw phallic shapes on the desk, textbooks, or pretty much anything else you can write on. So no,
That's definitely going to get violated.
no penis graffiti. Which is exactly how I feel when I see it.
Yes.
Violated.
Yes.
If admin walks in and you are on your cell phone, you shall be smited if you don't immediately start speaking Spanish and ask me where the Google Translator app is to finish your work.
There you go.
Because we have to make it look like you're busy.
That's right.
And the next one, thou shalt bring forth an offering of extra fries if thou dost return from the doctor's appointment.
There you go.
I get fries.
I get fries.
I get
Yeah,
fries.
there
You can
go.
come back and have it fried. I get fries too.
Gotcha.
Thou shalt never take Ron Clark's name in vain. Do you know who Ron Clark is, by the
No.
way? Oh my gosh. How can you be a teacher and not know who Ron Clark is? Ron Clark is the god of all teachers.
Really? Now-
He won Oprah's Teacher of the Year. And when you win Oprah's approval, you have mine. No, he won Oprah's Teacher of the Year and started the own Ron Clark Academy, which is like the dream academy. Anytime you ever see a video online of like kids doing stuff that you're like, wow, that's amazing, usually his school.
Did you have to read, and this is not a joke, the Harry Wong books?
Harry Wong, yeah,
Harry
first day of
Wong.
class, yeah.
First day, yeah.
You had to read it too?
Oh, yeah.
You had to watch the videos of
Yes.
Harry Wong talk.
Yeah, yeah.
But you don't want to mess up those VHS tapes.
Do
Harry
not.
Wong. Which one is?
Oh, wow.
You're like,
I know. I feel bad for the professional development people at the district.
yes. Harry Wong was a legend for teachers.
For many
is in my house,
reasons.
sir.
Yeah.
All right, the next one. On the 7th day of absence, thou shalt simply drop out and become a mechanic. We don't keep going this.
There's more money in
Yes,
that.
I know.
Probably.
The next one, when it comes to offerings, the apple is the forbidden fruit. Shower thy teacher with Starbucks gift cards.
Amen.
Next one, late work shall be marked with the number of the beast, 66.6. Thou shalt not kill. Oh, thou shalt kill. Sorry.
Okay.
We're doing the
Just
other one.
not the students.
Yeah, thou shalt kill the
Yeah.
cockroach under my desk. Thy fear of cockroaches is real.
Amen.
I don't like
I'm
cockroaches.
with you on that, yes,
I would
I'm with
see
you.
them and I'd be like, you over there. And the last one, 'tis easier to thread a camel through a needle than for a student playing music on a backpack speaker to enter my classroom. Those are my 10 commandments, and it is shall written from the rock above, which is probably the chunk of asbestos that fell off the side of the school.
Nice. So shall it be done.
It shall be done.
There you're right.
Yes,
that was quite good. Thank you,
Yeah.
Devin. Good.
I think those should be hung up.
They
I
should
think
be.
you should get them laminated.
Yes, I should.
And send it to all the classrooms in Texas.
I should. Are they going to check?
Well, the school he went to, they don't have lamination.
Yeah, we don't
That's
have.
not in the budget.
That's not in the media center?
No, we just literally stood over papers with hot candle wax, like trying to smear it. We'd be
You
like,
never
maybe
did
this'll-
the clear masking tape?
I did do the clear masking tape.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty
Our media
ingenious.
specialists would have to laminate things, and they were too busy being pulled to do testing all the time because we didn't have testing coordinators. They fired all those. They said we don't need them, which, by the way, we're doing more tests now, so we do need them, but now we're going to work where needed and have other. That's probably one of the better things about college teaching would be there's no like state tests, right?
No testing.
Yeah.
No.
I don't even give tests.
You don't have to.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really? Like no test?
No tests. I mean, well, I do give a little knowledge check quiz, but it's weighted at 0%.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's because I don't care what the result is.
Did you?
You know what we need more of? Less caring.
The irony of the testing in college was always so weird to me because I took a class called Tests and Measurements in college, and they showed us how to construct the test and then gave us a test which was not constructed in the way they showed us to construct the test.
Sounds like college.
Yeah, so it made no sense.
Yeah.
There was so many times I remember like we did a final exam in another classroom where it was a group one where we all sat in the class and raised our hand to answer the questions for as she went through the test, and we all got an A. There was another one that if we had a certain grade, you just were exempt from it, you know,
Yeah.
and that was
yeah.
wild.
Yeah.
And then I remember my favorite one was I had a professor that was for an English course, or not English, a reading course for school reading. And he found out I played guitar. And he said, hey, if you come to class and play us a song, he said, I will count that as your final.
What?
And this is the funny thing is I really was not a good guitarist.
Yeah.
I played, but I wasn't like great. And like I'm literally in front of the class like and I'm like, I am failing the easiest test of my life. He's gonna give me an F. I'm
Your
terrible.
final was Guitar Hero.
I was literally up there. It's like doom 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 doom. I think I did Seven Nation Army for like 8 minutes. Boom 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 boom. Anything that was one string, one pluck.
I'm gonna fail this class.
He's giving me a 7 and I'll go to 7-Eleven. Anyways, that was terrible. I was horrible. Your next step for this particular script, you are going to take it to New York. Do you have any other additional festivals that you're looking at? Or do they kind of, see how you do and then go from there?
Yeah, it's a slow drip. So I have the festival next week, so I'm flying out of town on Friday. And then I have submitted it to a few other festivals, but I won't find out about those until this summer.
Oh, now do you have the bug? Are you like, wow, now I can do some scripts?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's surprising because I hadn't really planned to do anything with it. Like I said, a friend of mine is in film, so she kind of worked with me on editing it. And I didn't really think it would go anywhere. And then when it got selected, I was like, I'm actually really good at this.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
No, but I did, and then I was like, I'm gonna submit it to some more festivals. Let's just see where it goes.
Right.
Now,
does it cost money to submit to festivals? Because comedy festivals, when you're a
Some
comedian
do.
and you want to partake, you got to pay like $50 entry fee and stuff like that.
it depends on the festival.
Depends on the festival.
Some yes and some no.
Gotcha.
Gotcha.
Interesting. So that's pretty cool. And might get it made. And when you
Yeah.
get it made, obviously we'll hopefully be the first to see it.
Yes.
I think
right
that's
here on this show.
Yeah.
I'll premiere it here.
Yeah. Now, if somebody's crying in the car in the script, just so you know, we do have a legal team standing by.
On retainer.
On retainer.
That's
yeah.
right.
No. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And hopefully you'll do more stand-up comedy, right?
Yeah, I'm hoping so. Yeah, I just gotta put my baby in the carrier and hit the stage.
Yeah.
How old is the baby?
He is 8 months old now.
God bless you. 8
I
months.
know.
Now you want to have another one, or we done? Oh, wow. Okay. I didn't mean like right now.
She's like, did the logo go out again? Because we should stop this.
That wasn't a hard question at all. That was
To be determined. I don't know.
Determined.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank
and,
you.
And I hope the comedy career takes off, and good luck with the script.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Yeah, thanks.
you.
Thanks so much. James, how can people find more information about you, sir?
As always, you guys can follow me on Instagram, James Yon Comedian. That's YON. And thank you, as always, for all the teachers that have been actually hitting me up and following me. You guys are great.
Absolutely. And devincomedy.com for all the upcoming tour dates and all the videos and all the everything else. I've got speaking engagements and my book, Teacher in the Wild. And hopefully you'll rate this 5-star, share it with your friends,
Please.
and let us know how you feel. Message us on any of the platforms at CIMC Podcast. And we thank you for tuning in to this edition of Crying in My Car, a podcast for teachers. So there might be a clip up there. There might be a clip down there. If it's got our face, if it's other people's stuff, come back. Don't click on that, But us, suggested things. That's us, Crying in My Car. Devin, Siebold, James Yon, board teachers. Watch. New trailer for Indiana Jones. No, don't do that. Don't do that.